now. We've got Suzuki against Samoa Joe. That's one of the big ones that's really got people's imaginations running wild. So that should be a lot of fun. Because I didn't see last week's show, I don't know what the build is like for some of these matches. I've got no idea. I mean, this does seem a bit thrown together because that's the wrestling world for you, isn't it? It moves so fast. I mean, like last time we were watching, like Samoa Joe had only just get signed, and now here he is taking on Suzuki from New Japan. Like, it's pretty wild. So, yeah, we've got Suzuki against Samoa Joe. We've got Penta taking on CM Punk. I'm really excited for this one, actually. This one might be the match I'm most looking forward to. I'm really excited for Marina Shafir against Sky Blue. The reason why I'm looking forward to that is because Marina Shafir was someone that was really on my radar when she was in NXT. And I really liked her and Jessamine Duke. I thought I could see they had potential. They're both former UFC fighters and obviously part of the MMA for horsewomen. And so I watched them quite closely because I, like many people, thought that we would get Ronda, Shayna, Marina Shafir, Jessamine Duke against Bayley, Charlotte, Becky, and the other one. And so I was keeping an eye on them, but then obviously it never led to that. Ronda left. Because Ronda left, it meant that we didn't need Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke, so they were released. So, yeah, it's great to see Marina Shafir has landed in AEW. Sky Blue is someone that I've seen before. She seems all right. She seems like a good Cora Jade. So, I'm quite interested in seeing that match and seeing, you know, if it's any good, basically. Two wrestlers, female wrestlers that I am interested in, and that always helps. So, yeah, I'm down for that one. That's got my interest. Then we've got Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus taking on Reddragon. I believe that's for the tag belts. I'd have to double check that. But I think the tag titles might be at stake there. Let me, I'll double check it. Do you know what? I'm going to double check it right now. That's what I'm going to do. If we search AEW, we can have a look and see if it is for the titles. Something tells me that it is. It is. World Tag Team Championship match. It's really weird because they list it as Jurassic Express against Reddragon, right? This is AEW on TV. They list it as being Jurassic Express. But on the big kind of preview one, they don't call them Jurassic Express. They call them Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. So I don't quite know what we're meant to call them, to be honest. There's the one that I was talking about. That one there is the one that's got like all the matches on. And in the center, you can see Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus against Reddragon. So they're not referring to them as Jurassic Express on this one, but on the other graphic they are. It doesn't matter. I just don't know if they are Jurassic Express, if they're not Jurassic Express, if it's, I don't know, maybe it's one of those like dirty dog situations where sometimes they're the dirty dogs, sometimes they're Ziggler and Rude, you know? Again, no biggie, but I'm, you know, just wondering what we're calling them. When they come down, I expect them to be called Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. That's what I expect them to be called. But it's just interesting on that other graphic, they did have them listed as Jurassic Express. Worth mentioning as well, Ring of Honor World TV Championship match for Suzuki against Samoa Joe. So Ring of Honor World TV Championship on the line, I believe, in that match. So we've got that. Then we've got MJF against Sean Dean. I don't know who Sean Dean is. When I was watching, I mean, obviously I've watched every week, unless he popped up at some point, like a Pop-Tart. I have no idea, but he is not someone that's been around. So MJF against Captain Sean Dean is not a clue. We've got Eddie, Santana, and Ortiz taking on Jericho, Hager, and Garcia. That's a trios match. And then we've also got Keith Lee and Swerve taking on Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. So we've got that as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things announced for tonight. And I've also heard that apparently this can overrun. There's Dave Meltzer, Uncle Dave, sent a message out saying expect there to be an overrun tonight. So he's saying that it could go all the way up to like half an hour as an overrun. So this thing might not be ending bang on whatever time it normally ends for you. Here in the UK, it normally ends at 3 in the morning. We could be going on till about 3:30. So that was a tweet that I saw from Dave Meltzer about an overrun. There's another couple of things I do want to jump into the chat. There's another couple of things to go through. AEW video game, apparently on the way late September. I've seen that doing the rounds. I think James mentioned it earlier on the football stream as well. So looks like that is, I don't know, a bit later than I was expecting. I don't know if I've got it like mixed up in my head, but I was under the impression it was early 2022, and now it's like September 2022. So I don't know if there's been a delay there. If there has, fine. I mean, I'm not bothered, but because I don't plan on getting it, just like I didn't get WWE 2K22. So it doesn't really make a difference to me. But if someone had asked, I would have said that it was going to be out like literally any time. Like I thought it was meant to be out early, so I'm guessing there's been a delay there. Either that or I've completely messed it up and just got myself confused. But late September is what we're looking at for that. And then the big thing, and this is huge because, I mean, I don't know if people are talking about this. I certainly didn't know about it until... to be honest, I don't often search AEW on Google. In fact, I've probably done it like a handful of times in the past. But I thought I'll just search AEW and see what news there is out there. Massive news about this merger. I don't know if you've heard about this merger, and I would imagine I don't know if the wrestling channels are talking about it, right? I mean, maybe they are. Maybe this is all everyone is speaking about, right? But I got it off Google News. This merger is a big deal. So apparently the Warner Media, and they are the people that own TBS, they own TNT, they own loads of different things. Apparently they are merging with Discovery, and it's believed that this is going to have a big repercussion for AEW, but it's not known exactly what that repercussion is. I've seen theories that this new company, when it merges, are going to look to try and save a combined 3 to 4 billion by cutting back on things. Now, I'm not saying they're going to cut AEW, but what I am saying is it's going to be a very turbulent time, a very interesting time when this merger goes through, because AEW are all right until the end of 2023, but then when their new contract comes up, you know, all of a sudden now they are going to have to deal and negotiate with this new company that they haven't dealt with before. Before, they were just dealing with Warner Media, they were dealing with TNT, they were dealing with TBS, right? Now, if Discovery is involved, like, all of a sudden now they've got a whole lot of new executives to try and schmooze, and I genuinely don't know how it's going to play out for AEW. Really don't. All I can tell you is what Dave Meltzer has said. And Meltzer has said that really what AEW need is they need another person bidding for them, because Discovery and Warner Media are expected to try and make savings wherever they can, and that cannot be good news for AEW trying to renew its TV contract. And so Uncle Dave has said that AEW would massively benefit if a streaming giant was to come in for them and start bidding. Now, so far, no one has, but saying that, you know, their contract isn't up for a long time. Their contract runs till the end of 2023. So there's still time. But, at the moment, Dave is concerned that this merger means that, they might look to keep AEW because its ratings are very good, but they might not be going all out to go crazy on, injecting the money into the company that maybe the company thought was going to come its way. This new merger is expected to be making savings and looking to cut costs as they bring these two companies together in the region of, and the numbers I've seen is 3 to 4 billion, which is phenomenal. So, this doesn't spell the end for AEW at all. But Dave says that this renegotiation, he believes it's going to be the biggest wrestling story of 2023. He said that if you was to sit down and predict what the big story of next year is going to be, it's going to be what is the AEW contract look like. I mean, if they get a massive contract, that could be a game changer, because, that'd be a lot of money that's then injected into that company. And, obviously we would know their future, what network they're going to be on, how much money they've got to play with. I think people can get a bit twisted sometimes with, Tony Khan's wealth. And it's like, Tony Khan is not an unlimited pool of money. Tony Khan will have allocated mentally X amount that he's willing to invest in this project, right? Just because he's a very rich man does not mean he is going to put all of his wealth into this project. This is a hobby. It's a passion. It's something he's absolutely going to be willing to lose money on. But that doesn't mean that he's going to want to lose all of his money on it. So he is going to want to see a return from his investment. And I think right now he's undeniably losing money when it comes to how much they're having to spend on the likes of Danielson, Adam Cole, CM Punk in particular. You can go down a list of how the big names they've brought in and how much it's costing, and look at how much money is coming in. The main money that is being generated is that TV money, and we know that TV deal they've got at the moment is quite low, certainly compared to a Raw or a SmackDown. We are not talking billions at all for AEW. So they really could do with negotiating something a bit tastier next time around. And the belief was that it was going to be tasty next time around. But now, because of this merger, it's just thrown everything up into the air. But as I said, I can't sit here and say, right, this is what's going to happen, because no one knows. No one knows. But it's very, very interesting. If you want to look into it further, Google it. It's right. I mean, all the articles will be right there for you about how Warner Media is merging with Discovery, how Uncle Dave said it's going to be the big story of next year, the fact that they need to try and get a bit more from that deal. That could really spell, think about MJF. So MJF, for example, if they want to keep him, they're going to have to go toe-to-toe with WWE. And, of course, Tony can always dip into his personal wealth, but I'm telling you, he is not going to keep doing that. And, he could have dipped into his personal wealth to have kept Cody. He didn't. So it shows that there are budgets and there are limits and there are lines that they're willing to go to. And Tony wouldn't cross that line for Cody. And who knows? I mean, it might get to the point where Tony has to put his hands up when it comes to MJF because, he just can't match what WWE are matching. That TV money is going to be so important. It's going to really dictate how much AEW can continue to grow and continue to fight. And it'll be interesting. I mean, it'll be interesting if someone else comes in as well. And really puts the cat amongst the pigeons, because if another company comes in, then there could be a bidding war. But right now, it doesn't seem like there is. So that's what Meltzer was talking about, and it's all stuff for the future. But this merger is apparently happening at the moment, and that's why it's in the news at the moment. So very, very interesting. I mean, certainly not the end of AEW. That would, if anyone's saying that, then that's just clickbait. That's not what's being said. The truth is that, things are happening behind the scenes, and we don't know how it's going to shake out. But you can make up theories as to, how it plays out. But I would say that, they obviously need to be putting their best foot forward as they get closer to those renegotiations, which is quite exciting for wrestling fans. That would mean that maybe next year, maybe as we get towards the end of this year, going into 2023, AEW need to go big, really big, because they need to get ratings to renegotiate that contract and show that they are worth keeping. It's no good getting ratings now, and then by the time the negotiations start, your ratings have fallen away. Like, you need big numbers, like, really later this year. So don't be surprised if they line up a load of stuff for, like, later in the year. And I know people will start thinking, like, Wyndham and things like that. I mean, maybe. I have no idea. I mean, I don't know if Tony has sat down and started planning all of that, but he'll know how important it is to get big numbers. When you go into that negotiation, you want to be, they're going to have all of your numbers, like where you've been, where you are at the moment, projections for the future. You're going to need as good a numbers as possible. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Daniel said, I think Tony would look at ESPN or something if he was to move networks. Esteban said, Discovery has got a lot of trash TV, whole networks dedicated to murder shows and house-flipping garbage. Well, that's one thing I read, actually, was that apparently their programming is known as being quite cheap. So this is part of the concern, is that Discovery aren't really known for, like, heavy investment into, like, big programs. And so that's where some of the concern is coming from, that this might not be a great, like, sign. Discovery, like, merging with Warner Media, because they might not be giving AEW the kind of money that AEW has been hoping for. But again, this isn't scaremongering, because you can read the articles for yourself. I'm only telling you what's out there. No one knows how it's going to shake out, or what kind of impact it's actually going to have. It could end up having no impact at all, because Discovery could come in and think, well, for the ratings that AEW are generating for us, it's worth giving them X amount. But Dave was saying that the problem that AEW have got is the big sports, things like baseball and basketball, and I don't know if, like, American football is on those stations, but whatever the big sports are that they've got, they will never lose money, right? Those big sports will never get cuts, right? Because those are the drivers, right? That's your your bankers, if you will, right? So those sports are absolutely fine. The squeeze is felt further down in your sports, the next level down, and programming that can take a bit of a squeeze. And this is where Dave was saying that the concern is that AEW would fall into that bracket as being one of the programs that could be squeezed. You could get the same ratings without having to invest as much into the AEW product. It doesn't need, like, a crazy explosion of money. It doesn't need, like, this big investment. You could keep it, like, ticking over, and because the fan base is already there, you will still get, like, largely the same ratings. And actually, I mean, if you look at the fact that last week apparently Dynamite was billed as, like, this, didn't Tony Khan say it's like a mini pay-per-view, and there was, like, title matches, and Samoa Joe was wrestling on there for the first time. You had FTR taking on the Young Bucks. You had all this stuff. It's still delivered, like, 960,000. It's still delivered around that million mark. And that was with all this, like, massive promotion and everything. Like, it definitely feels like AEW is around that million mark, that 900,000 to a million. And it's very, very difficult for them to really exceed that, go above that. I'm not saying don't try. I mean, that would be stupid. Of course, try, keep fighting, and that's all you can do, isn't it? Keep fighting, keep battling away, keep trying to improve the product and, reach more people if possible. So it's certainly not knocking AEW, but I can understand the argument that just constantly throwing money at AEW might not make a big difference, because, as we said last week, they put on a mega show, a mini pay-per-view. Tony Khan said in advance, like, this is, our response to WrestleMania type thing. I saw quotes. It's a big celebration of wrestling at the moment. We're going big ourselves. We don't want to get lost in the mix. And then it ends up getting like 960,000. Doesn't really move the dial at all. And that's, I think kind of something that I think would be a bit of a concern for Tony. If you're going to go big with a show like that, then you would want to see a flicker in the ratings. But again, it just kind of holds around that million mark. I feel sorry for him, actually, because it's like, what do you do? How do you get to 1.2, 1.3, 1.4? Like, how do you get to that? I mean, like, it seems like the only way to get there is a big arrival of a superstar. It feels like the only way you can get there is a big tease of a big superstar coming in and people tune in because they want to see that moment. Other than that, like, people just don't seem to stick around. And it's not just AEW, it's with other shows as well. We've seen declines for Raw. Raw's bobbed down to about 1.6. I mean, it's gone back up to 1.8 at the moment because of the WrestleMania effect, but that'll soon settle back down again, I'm sure. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't know if there's too much wrestling. I don't know if maybe there's too much wrestling and there's just not as many wrestling fans anymore. I mean, maybe that's just a sad truth that the wrestling industry has just been in decline for a long time, and right now we're at the point where what is left and the fans that are left is just maybe being spread a bit thin. Do you know what I mean? And it's just hard. It's just really, really hard environment. I do feel sorry for him. I mean, like, you look at, like, this card. I mean, this card here, he's got Suzuki, a legend from Japan, come over to take on Samoa Joe, who everyone loves. Everyone loves Samoa Joe. And you've got CM Punk on this card. You've got, MJF, who's becoming a big star. You've got two-thirds or half of Undisputed Era, who were doing really well in NXT. You got Chris Jericho on this card. Keith Lee's come over. It's like, I look at that card and I still don't see more than 1 million people tuning in. This card here doesn't feel like more than 1 million. And it's like, man, do you know what I mean? It's like, what have you got to do? What have you got to do? One thing I think it has shown is how hard it is out there at the moment. I think one thing that AEW has kind of shown us is that you can put out a really good product and you can sign, like, wrestlers that people love, and you can really try your best and like all of that, and you'll get good results. I mean, what AEW has done has been very good in a very competitive market, but God, it's so hard, isn't it, to like get a foothold and actually, like, grow. It's hard to grow. It seems like survival is what the best you can hope for, really, rather than like growing and actually seeing that number continue to improve. If I'm AEW, said Dortnight, I would target countries that WWE doesn't do enough for. See if you can target demographics to pump up ratings. Do you know what? That's really interesting. And I did mention this yesterday on, you might have seen that we did a stream on the Wrestling Days channel, this channel, that we normally do on the Wrestling Escape Pod. If you saw it, then, I hope you got something from it. I hope you had a laugh or, enjoyed the conversation or whatever it was, right? It's something we don't normally do on this channel, but there was actually a problem yesterday with YouTube, and I couldn't sign into that other account, so we had to do it on this channel. But one of the things I said on there is something that was really playing on my mind yesterday, and it does tie to this. Drew McIntyre, right? Drew McIntyre is getting a lot of credit for WWE moving, getting that UK pay-per-view. Now, I can't prove that Drew McIntyre isn't responsible, but I really, really doubt, I can't stress this enough, I really doubt that he is. I really, really doubt that he is responsible. The reason being is because there's been lots of people saying that they've wanted to get a UK pay-per-view in the past. So why now would Drew have been able to have convinced Vince? Why would Drew have been able to have done that now? Why now, after all this time, and why not before? And I actually think the truth isn't that Drew managed to get it done. I think it's what Dork Knight just said, which is I think WWE are looking at all of these international markets. They are looking at the emergence of AEW, and they are thinking to themselves, we cannot afford for AEW to go into that UK market and own it. We can't afford for them to go into the UK, put on a big show like is rumoured at Fulham, right, at Craven Cottage. We can't afford for them to go into that market, put that show on, and all of a sudden everyone's hyped around AEW and they're hyped around their product, and they come in and they basically steal fan base away, if you will. So this way, by doing a big show in the UK, they can then cement their position as the number one brand, rather than just coming and doing a tour like they've been doing once a year, twice a year. They can come in with a statement show, get all the hype everywhere. You know, this way, if AEW do a show in London, well, WWE did it last year, or WWE did it earlier in the year, or whatever it might be, right? All of a sudden now, AEW coming and doing a show at Fulham doesn't look as special because WWE have done a bigger one. WWE did a bigger one over in Cardiff that was 70-odd thousand. So, you know, doing a 20-odd thousand show in London, well, it's levels below, isn't it? So I feel like there's more truth to that being the reason as to why they're doing it now. You know, more so than thank you, Drew. Thank you, Drew, for being able to sort this for us, which I just don't buy. I just don't buy it. I just do not believe that Drew McIntyre convinced Vince. I don't believe Vince was like, God damn, you're right, Drew. They do deserve a pay-per-view. I just don't buy it at all. I think it's got more to do with AEW and AEW trying to come into the UK market than it has, like, say, Drew McIntyre trying to actually get a premium live event, they're called now, over here. So, yeah, that was just something that I was playing on my mind a little bit. And I agree. I do agree. I think that it's a result of AEW trying to come over to this market. You know, they've been talking about doing a tour over here for a long time, and they haven't done one yet, largely because of the pandemic. So WWE will be fully aware that AEW want this UK market and want a piece of this pie. And the UK is like one of the most passionate fan bases. I'm not just saying that. I mean, it's a massive deal. Like, Texas is a big deal, of course it is. New York is a big deal. California, Florida, these are all big, big markets where you can absolutely put the UK next to any of those. Because, you know, over here in the UK, you know, you've got some of the most passionate pro wrestling fans. You've got over 65 million people. There's nothing over here that's on the level of WWE or AEW. We've got pro wrestling, but nothing on that level. So it's a big prize. I mean, it's a lot of money. It's, you know, and it's definitely a market they don't want to see go, so... Miss Clown 1, shout out to you, says, have a sweet stream, much love. Miss Clown 1, shout out to you, I hope you're well. Hope everyone's well. We've got CM Punk. What are your thoughts on the Warner Media Discovery merger that happened recently? Meltzer said it's going to be a 50-50 situation for AEW. Dude, we've just spent about 20 minutes talking about that. Do casual UK wrestling fans even know about AEW? Not honestly, don't know. I mean, the only thing I would say is that if they did come over, there would be a lot of promotion, and casual UK fans would know about Jericho, and they would know about Daniel Bryan, and they would know about CM Punk, and they would know about, like, you know, these names. So it's a case of I don't think they've been able to do it yet because their TV deal is, You got to remember as well, though, they do get shown on ITV, don't they? Quite a few times I've seen that they've been on ITV. So they're shown on ITV very late at night, but, you know, someone could have been flicking the channels and come across AEW. And then we've got, but yeah, until they actually like do a tour and come over and do all that promotion, then you know, you'd have to say that they haven't tapped in properly to that UK market yet. But they know it. They know it. That's why they want to do a tour. Dark Knight, goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Root Beer said, anyone see Kenny Omega's new interview? He's talking about Bullet Club separated in different organization. He wants to have a faction war. He says now is the time to do it. A good thing Tony can show Warner Brothers is that AEW most of the time ranks higher on a Wednesday than NBA on TNT. Most of the time outdraws the live basketball that night on TNT. Outdraws it on that demo, I think, not by actual people watching. And you know, look, there's a lot of positive things that he can go in with numbers wise, but yeah, they're never gonna touch the basketball. That's never gonna lose its funding. Did you hear about Becky Lynch going to AEW? No. Adam said I booked my hotel for the Cardiff Premium Live event. Have fun, Adam. Esteban said you should go back and watch FTR Young Bucks match. Daniel said I'm not interested in this match at all. It is a loud crowd here. I like the fact the venue feels a bit different. So you've got the first few rows, and then you've got like this big panel that's got like lots of AEW logos on it. I like how that feels. I like the fact that that feels different. It's just another venue. We've got lots of signs up. I think, are these signs that say, like, keep an eye out for Wardlow, are they? You can see, like, A4 printed bits of paper in the background. Kick to the midsection by CM Punk. I don't like the Bucks, but their match with FTR was great, said James. MJF is the best thing going in AEW, said Daniel. Lee said the AEW ratings are terrible. Big chops coming in by Penta. Penta and CM Punk are going at it. Kick to the midsection by CM Punk. Very loud crowd. We've said before, I don't know how they managed to get the crowd so fired up before the show like begins. I think they just naturally are fired up. Forearm strike by CM Punk goes up in the corner. Nice throw as Penta goes down. Trios match still to come, so they're just running down. I'm looking forward to that Marina Shafir match, making her TV debut apparently. I can see the Principality Stadium from my window, so a 3-minute walk into the stadium for the event is a dream come true. Jaden said, "Did you see the video of MJF versus a little girl? I think it's hilarious." Even Cornette liked last week's FTR Young Bucks match. It was an instant classic, says Esteban. We've got ankle lock by Penta. Penta goes into the corner. So, Penta in the corner. Knee strike by CM Punk. CM Punk with Penta. Goes for a clothesline. Sling blade by Penta. Another one. Goes for the pin. 2. And shoulder up by CM Punk. They are staying in smaller arenas with great acoustics. Also, Elevation is taped before Dynamite. When Liverpool win the Champions League, the Elez song might need some work. From Paris down to Paris won't work. The words instant classic get used too much, said Sean. Lance said FTR versus Young Bucks was amazing, and I don't like the Young Bucks at all. Jordan said it's about an hour from Cardiff, so debating whether to stay the night or just drive home. Minty said, I didn't watch FTR Bucks 2, but I'm sure it was great. Penta going against the ropes, sliding out the ring as CM Punk gets in the ring. Suicide dive by Punk. Picture in picture is what we're going over to. 10 minutes already gone in this one. So, picture in picture. Crowd are red hot for this tonight. When do you think the next WWE superstar will transfer to AEW? Just when it become available, to be honest. If ever there's going to be some mass releases, then I think there's probably a good chance one of them will find their way to AEW. But I don't know if they're going to look to do that. I don't know if they're going to look to have any more releases this year because there were so many last year. We still don't know about like Wyndham and what the future might hold for him. Shot by Penta. Penta's down on his knees. Throws in a chop. Penta's asking CM Punk to kick him. Ledger Killer, hello. Shola said, PG Punk is on fire. Ron said, mass releases on Friday. Oh, I haven't heard that at all. Daniel said, I'm pretty sure I saw Tony say he doesn't plan going too far into overtime. He said recent ratings are pleasing the Warner Brothers is the reason he's been granted a possible overrun. Jilly said, I stopped watching Sammy Guevara's vlogs. I'm sick of him and Ty Conti flaunting their relationship. We still have Claudio and Gargano to debut soon and probably be more Ring of Honor focused. CM Punk stomping on the hand of Penta. Alex said, fun fact, the arena AEW are in is 10,000 seats. They only sold about 3,500 to 4,000. It was apparently set up for 4.8. Is that true? So this is a 10,000 arena and they've sold about half of it. I mean, it's so loud that it feels like it's sold out, to be honest. It's mic'd very, very well if it is half empty. In the corner goes CM Punk. And Penta goes up and over. Penta on the edge of the ring. We've had 11 minutes gone so far. Top rope Inzaguri. Top rope Inzaguri by Penta. Penta trying to climb up. Am I the only one that's not into this match? Asks Daniel. Did you hear Jason Killer, one of the key players and CEO of Warner Media, was always reporting how happy with AEW's progress, but he was terminated with the new merger. Little botchy there. Punk seemed to slip. Punk went down, and Penta was thrown across the ring, but managed to land on his feet. CM Punk seems to be selling his knee here. Ref telling Penta to get back. Kick by Penta. Big strike by Penta. A little bit of a botch there. I think they're just checking that Punk's all right, but he goes down. His leg's really giving out on him here. Kicks by Penta. CM Punk going down. JR saying all is not right in the world. Trying to block the shot, and he does, and he throws in a few strikes of his own. He picks Penta up. Now CM Punk's going up again. Hurricanrana, and he gets it that time. CM Punk trying to go over, but moving a bit gingerly. Knee straight over to Penta in the corner. He picks Penta up. He's looking for the GTS. Back elbows by Penta. Again, going down. Trying to pull back on the arm. Picks up. Flips him over. Anaconda Vice applied. Anaconda Vice. Right in the middle of the ring, but Penta seems to be getting over to the ropes. And he gets a foot on the rope, so Penta gets a foot on the rope, and CM Punk has to break the hold. 10,000-seat arena with a record-breaking attendance of 73,000. The crowd last week in Boston were extremely loud, said Daniel. I'm conflicted with this match. I like both, but Penta shouldn't be allowed a victory over Punk, said Larry. How much do you think CM Punk has got left in the tank career-wise? Not loads. He's probably got a couple of years. I could see him having a couple of years. I think he'll get to a title opportunity. He might even have a little run with the belt, but yeah, it definitely feels more laboured. It feels like every time I've watched him, like it's hasn't flowed quite as it used to. But I mean, that's to be understood. I mean, he'd been out the ring for a long, long time. Kick, and into the ring goes Penta. So yeah, I reckon he's got a few years. I mean, I certainly don't think he's got 10 years. Or 8. Or even 5. Clothesline. I don't know how long his contract is up for, to be honest. If he's got, say, another couple of years on his contract, I would be really uncertain as to whether he would re-sign like an extension. He's calling for the GTS. Lance said, that's what I was thinking. He just doesn't seem to have the same pep in his step. Tahil reckons 5 to 6 years. Kicks coming in. He's got him up on his shoulders. He's looking for the GTS. And he almost had it, but Penta grabs Punk's leg. Penta looking for a... No joy. High kick by Punk. Step up enziguri by Penta. Strike's coming into the side of the body. He's going to pull back on the arm. Armbar. Nice reversal by CM Punk. Backslides. Just a 2 count. Duck underneath by Punk. Looking for a net breaker. Thrust kick by Penta. Punk down as Penta goes over to the rope. Springboards off, but straight onto the shoulders. Into a GTS. Punk gets it. Straight into the pin. And CM Punk wins. Good sequence. Punk wins. Do you know that AEW Dr. Sampson is Wardlow's dad? I don't know who Dr. Sampson is, if I'm being honest. But that will be interesting news to Dr. Sampson fans. The springboard reversal was pretty cool, said Dizzle Dog. The match was okay, nothing special, says Daniel. Boxer said, do you prefer Punk as a heel or a face? Me and my friends prefer him as a heel. I think he can work both, to be honest. I think there's such goodwill towards him. I think he's seen as someone that represents the people. I always like him in that sort of anti-hero kind of... I mean, you've got to think when he was taking on, standing up to McMahon and, you know, running off with the belt, like, he was a face, really, at that time. He was standing up for the people, and, I mean, it was cool. But I think he can work really well as a face or as a heel. We've got an airplane here with Jericho, Garcia, and Hager. There's a couple of people that have been beaten up. 2.0 beaten up. So Kingston drives off with Santana and Ortiz. And now we have got Reddragon. Reddragon making the way out. So it's going to be Jungle Boy Luchasaurus against Reddragon. This is for the tag titles. I'm surprised this is so early. I'm really surprised this is so early, actually. I'm just going to call him Jurassic Express. Jurassic Express against Reddragon. Dr. Sampson is the guy that saved Jerry Lawler when he had his heart attack on Raw. Only 3,000 people in here, apparently. The place is bouncing, said Daniel. Why do comedians love eggs? They're easy to crack up. Gene said the City game was crazy, wasn't it? Boring. Oh, it was painful. Honestly. Trying to, like, commentate on that match was a chore. Because crazy at the end. Like, the final 15 minutes is fantastic. Like, there's so much, like, drama right at the end. But the actual what happened before it was dull. It was really dull. I think we got to, like, the 70th summit minute and there'd been one shot on target. And that was from Atletico. And it was pretty tame. You know... Man City shut shop, really. Didn't really overcommit themselves. As a result, Atletico couldn't really catch them on the break. And so the two teams just sort of cancelled each other out throughout the whole game. And as it got more towards the end, you could tell that Atletico were getting more desperate. And yeah, I mean, the scenes at the end are crazy. I mean, it's weird because I'd say the final 15 minutes are some of the most, you know, entertaining that we've seen all season. Like the drama and Foden being down and Savic coming over and he's pulling Grealish's hair and yeah, there was lots that were going on in that 15 minutes. But the game before was not great. But it doesn't really matter, does it? If you're a City fan, you're through. And the same with Liverpool. Liverpool. Having a bit of a tough night as well, but they went through as well. Against the ropes goes Jungle Boy. When do you think Christian will turn heel? I have no idea, but I've obviously not seen last week, and I don't know like what the dynamic is like. I mean, they are the tag champs, so what benefit does it serve him turning heel? Unless he costs them the tag titles, and then what would he do? Work a program with Jungle Boy? I mean, my answer, I suppose, would be, if it is going to happen, it would probably be more likely to happen when they're ready to lose the belts. So, you know, if they lose the belts tonight, then maybe tonight, but I don't know that I can see them losing the belts here. I don't know that I see the titles changing hands here, because, I mean, it's the second match on. Doesn't really feel like this is the match where tag titles are about to change hands. So, strike by Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus in the ring. You were right. They were not called Jurassic Express. Yeah, I've got a feeling that they're not trying to use that name now. I think that name might have been really when Marko Stunt was around. Or maybe it's something to do with, like, when Christian's around, the three of them are Jurassic Express. This is Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, maybe, that represent Jurassic Express. I don't know. I can't quite get my head around, like, how they're carving it up. But yeah, I've seen them being referenced as Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy as separate entities, more so than Jurassic Express. I just went with Jurassic Express because I couldn't be bothered to type out Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, so I went with that. Great crowd tonight, helps add to the excitement of the matches. Philip said, are you streaming Battle of the Belts? I don't believe so, because I think it's Saturday, is it? If it's Sunday, then that could work. If it's Saturday, then it's more than likely going to collide with UFC. Battle of the Belts. Let's have a look. Battle of the Belts 2 airs on Saturday, so no. The 1 hour show is pre-taped on April the 15th. So yeah, sadly not. It's going to be on at the same time as UFC. Shame they can't do it at on a Sunday, because it's pre-taped. You know, they could have run it on a Sunday. That would have been pretty cool. Against the ropes goes Jungle Boy, and he does a couple of suicide dives. AEW is feeling boring, said Daniel. Should and could they use the Straight Edge Society gimmick in AEW? I don't think they could. I would imagine that's probably something that WWE have got. Kick to the back of Luchasaurus. Jungle Boy comes crashing down on Bobby Fish. Swing and a miss there by Kyle O'Reilly. Bobby Fish grabbing a hold of Jungle Boy. We're 26 minutes into this, and I am expecting a little bit of an overrun. I don't know how long that overrun will be. Picture in picture. Picture in picture on this one. Botch. Oh, I didn't see a botch. Still to come, MJF and Captain Sean Dean. Trios match still coming up as well, as Reddragon are in control. Marina Shafir against Sky Blue. Keith Lee and Swerve taking on Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. Minoru Suzuki versus Samoa Joe. We've got Bobby Fish going for a pin on Jungle Boy. So all 4 members are back involved into this now. And we've got Luchasaurus on the outside. We've got Kyle O'Reilly on the outside. Bobby Fish in there with Jungle Boy. Who should be in BCC? Well, I mean, is Wheeler Yuta officially joined? Because if so, I would say there only needs to be one more. Like, I'm not really into, like, massive factions. I think I'm a bit old school with, like, you know, the 4 horsemen. And, you know, if you think about Undisputed Era, there was, like, 4 people in that. If you think about Evolution, there was, like, 4 in that. If you think about, like, DX, I mean, by and large, there was, 4 or so in that. Like, I'm not really into, like, 6, 7, those kind of numbers. So I think if you've got Moxley, you got Danielson. I don't really count Regal because he's the manager. I'd probably look to put one more in it. I mean, if you really wanted to put a tag team in and you could make an argument for it, then so be it. I think a female would be great, though. I think if you put a female in that group, I think that would be really, really cool. Really cool. Marina Shafir could be excellent in that group because she is a former UFC fighter. She could be positioned to be a killer. If she was to get that kind of intensive pro wrestling training, from like Danielson, Moxley, she could be great. And what a rocket that would be, like, you know. Ruby Soho as well. I mean, Ruby Soho has got the look. She looks edgy, but she could also benefit from that, like, you know, push. So, Ruby Soho, Marina Shafir, those would be a couple of names that I'd be leaning to. Rachel, hello, said, who hates the person that manages Penta? I do. Does my head. I just think he looks like something from local amateur dramatics. It does look like he's just walked out of, like, some kind of play. And he's come in to stand at ringside with Penta. I think he divides opinion, though, to be honest. I think he divides opinion. Daniel said Sean Dean has got a win over MJF due to CM Punk purposely GTSing Sean Dean to disqualify MJF in the process. Days, when Time Warner and AOL merged, it put the nail in the coffin for WCW. How similar is this merger? We don't know is the answer. We don't know. We don't know how much Discovery are even going to care about wrestling. The sad truth is that ratings and demos and all of that could be absolutely irrelevant if it does not fit in line with what this new company, this new merger, has got envisaged for their channel. They just simply might not want wrestling on the channel. Now, I wouldn't go as far as to say that's what's going to happen, right? Or that's likely. I would say that for the amount of money it costs, I think AEW is a very good return. So I would have to think that at the end of the day, they're business people, and they would surely look at the impact AEW has, and, you know, what are you going to replace it with? How are you going to replace it with a show that's going to get you those ratings? I mean, to be honest, I think they would be foolish to, like, drop AEW altogether. I think that would be foolish, because when the ratings come out, AEW is normally right near the top when it comes to the shows that have been watched the most on a Wednesday night. And it's going to be so hard to replace that with something, you know, I mean, I think it's going to be really difficult. So I don't see it being a case that they're going to get rid of wrestling. What it could be, though, is it could be that, as I said, you know, the amount of money that AEW would like to have available to it might not be as great as it once was going to. This merger could definitely impact that. But we're not going to quite know, to be honest. I mean, I think this is a story that will play out, and it's going to be very, very interesting. Maybe we'll get a good idea well before, you know, that contract is available as to what they're thinking. We've got an armbar here by Kyle O'Reilly. Jungle Boy getting over to the ropes. But Days, did you hear WWE pulled Brock Lesnar from Backlash? I don't know if they pulled him, to be honest. I mean, I've heard that he's not going to be there. I don't know the reasons for it. I mean, I don't know if they thought they were going to have him and now, like, they haven't, or kind of what the situation is. But, yeah, I've heard that he's not going to be on that show. But I couldn't tell you as to why. I mean, I must admit, I wasn't really expecting him. I wasn't expecting Brock to be around after WrestleMania. That was part of my thinking as to why I thought Roman stood a good chance of winning at WrestleMania. Because the amount of work Brock did before WrestleMania was it's just not what you saw from Brock before. He did so much, like, so many appearances in the build to that WrestleMania. I didn't think he was going to maintain that. We've got a guillotine being applied. So, guillotine by Kyle O'Reilly on Luchasaurus. Deeb in Blackpool Combat Club. Yeah, I mean, I really like Deeb, but I don't know that she needs it, to be honest. I mean, I really like Deeb, and she fits into it great, but she's a killer anyway, isn't she? I mean, legit, she is. Who doesn't see Deeb as, like, the best female wrestler? I mean, she is. She doesn't need it. I kind of think, like, wouldn't it be better if you got a female Wheeler Yuta that would really benefit from being in that group? If you put Deeb in there, what does Deeb get out of it? I mean, she's already. I mean, she ain't gonna. I'm sure she'd learn a few things from Danielson, but legit, she is. For me, like, maybe my favourite female wrestler to watch. So, I don't know what she's going to learn. Whereas someone like Marina Shafir or Ruby Soho, I could see them really benefiting. Really benefiting. I don't think that... I mean, Marina Shafir, I don't think will have as big of an identity yet. Jungle Boy gets the pin and the win. And there we go. Jurassic Express retain. This crowd. Yeah, good response. Good reaction. Passionate crowd. Jungle Boy going over to the corner, and Kyle O'Reilly comes in with a chair. Wallops Luchasaurus and wallops Jungle Boy. Parades around with that championship in the air. Reddragon are garbage. Rob Van Dam versus Matt Riddle in a Stoned 420 match. The whole point of the Blackpool Combat Club is 3 veterans elevating new young talent. People keep wanting to put veterans in. It doesn't make sense. Here's FTR. FTR making their way out, and a big reaction for FTR. Six-star FTR. They've got the AAA titles around their waist, and they've got the Ring of Honor tag belts as well. And they're pushing at... Wheeler Yuta. So we're just seeing last Friday on Rampage, William Regal shaking Wheeler Yuta's hand. Here we are backstage. What belt has he got? Why do you think we're all fired up? We're going to fight the 24-0 Gun Club, so... Moxley, Danielson, Yuta against Gun Club. On Friday, the real work begins. Ring of Honor World TV Championship. Everyone's got a belt, haven't they? Wheeler Yuta's got a belt. I don't know where his belt came from. Marina Shafir taking on Sky Blue. Oh, just running down the cards. How is the Gun Club 24-0? They lost to FTR. Don't ask questions. MJF against Captain Sean Dean coming up next. Is Blackpool Combat Club. BCC. BCC for life. Right, apparently it's MJF versus... What's his name? Sean Dean. Coming up next. He won the Pure Championship on the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. William Regal versus Will Smith. Okay, we are just at commercial break. 40 minutes into this show. We've got 20 minutes to go till we get to the half-time score. They were 24-0 as a trio when they're joined by Billy, and that is a separate record. Suzuki versus Joe is going to be amazing. Crowd so far has been amazing. Blackpool Combat Club are definitely leading to split with Mox leading one half of them and Danielson leading the other half. Regal versus Smith. Be a great fight. I'd back Regal. Feel like we've seen the best that Will Smith can offer. They didn't even acknowledge the Pure Championship. Lol. Hope they add a woman to the BCC. Maybe someone like Marina Shafir. Yeah, 2 6-man records. Did you watch NXT yesterday? No. Jaden said, did you not know about Brock Lesnar quitting WWE? He's never coming back. I've certainly not seen that news. So I would be very surprised if that was true. Murder Grandpa Suzuki, let's get it. Who won the last match? It was Jurassic Express. Look up the Pure Championship match rules. I've seen I've seen it. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, but the one I remember was no outside interference, which I really liked. They offered they would suspend anyone that interfered in it. I thought it was brilliant. I just don't know why other wrestling doesn't adopt that. Right, here is Tony Storm, and is that Jamie Hayter? Jamie Hayter against Tony Storm. I want this match more than the fans want this match, says Jamie Hayter. This is my crowning moment. I'm going to break your face. Nothing to say? Tony Storm walks away. Okay. MJF making his way out. Dr. Britt Baker is back next Wednesday. No closed fists. I can't understand the new NXT Tag Champ Pretty Deadly. I understand they're from the UK, but to me, it's dudes in pastel colours wearing a woman's top. Okay, here is MJF coming down with Sean Spears. MJF, stay at home and pet your cat. There's a sign there that says MJF sucks. MJF puts tomatoes in his gumbo. Okay, so we've got MJF in the ring. Oh my God. Captain Sean Dean has turned up like he's actually going off to combat here. He's got camo on his face. We've got war paint on. MJF's trying to undo his jacket, but struggling. I would imagine you could get that jacket from... I would imagine you could get that jacket. Looks like the kind of thing you'd be able to get from, like, AEW shop. It's not a great advert for it, though, if the zip does get stuck. So, he can't get the jacket off here. The zip is stuck. MJF attacking from behind. And there we go. He was just playing. JR said, it's amazing to me how good MJF is going to be as he continues to just get more and more experience. Nice lion tattoo. Backstage, we're seeing a couple of guards down. Wardlow chants. Gotta love MJF. He is the best heel in wrestling right now, said Tyler. Security is literally dead. MJF jumping outside the ring. Got those signs. We want Wardlow is the chant of the fans. Days, I'm sorry, it's true. It was confirmed from a YouTube channel named True Mania. It's gotta be true then. Yeah, you're right, mate. You're right. Oh, if True Mania has said it, Jesus. I believe that's where Meltzer gets all his news from as well, from True Mania. I mean, it's right there in the name. It's nothing but the truth at True Mania. MJF down, and Sean Spears with a chair shot to the back of Wardlow. Wardlow Grab Sean Spears. Now we've got security coming down as Wardlow's laying them all out as they make their way down. Picks up one, hurls him onto the edge of the ring. More security coming down. And there he goes, finally outnumbered. There's around about 10 people around at the moment. Nine, and it's going to be a count out here. MJF said, I will triple your pay to the ref if you don't count to 10. And there we go. Let's count out. MJF loses by count out. Ten Hag. People saying Ten Hag. Sean Dean wins. MJF losing by count out. I don't think MJF likes children because he cost at an 11-year-old girl. MJF can't believe it that he's lost that. That was pretty fun, said Austin. MJF lost, said let him in. Sean Dean has now got 2 wins over MJF. MJF in the ring, pushing the ref. Ref pushes him back. Sean Spears is in there to try and drag him away. I'm in my basement. There is a severe tornado warning. I'm sorry to hear that. Wardlow shouting down the camera. Zed, wait till I get my hands on you. The captain for AEW champion. Days, answer this time. Who's your favourite wrestler? What, right now? Maybe Cody. I really like the story of him going after that belt that Rhodes have never had. They've never had it. And I love the fact that Dusty's being used in that story. It's something you just don't see in WWE. They never, for me anyway, lean into the past enough. You know, if you think that's a company that's been around since 60s and goes beyond, like, they could lean into that history so much more. But they don't. You know, they're very much about the here and the now. They're constantly thinking about new watchers, current watchers. They don't want to be talking about the past because, well, they don't want to make anyone feel like they've missed out or they need to know stuff to follow stories, if you know what I mean. So it's always about, you know, the here and now and a billion recaps. So a story that actually, and it doesn't really lean on it too much. It's just nice. It's just good to know that, you know, Rhodes has never won that big title. I mean, we already knew that. We knew Goldust had never won it. We knew Cody had never won it. We knew Dusty had never won it. I've said before that I didn't realise that Dusty had come so close to it. I didn't know that he had fought for it in 77 and actually won the match by, like, count out. I didn't know that. I didn't know that Dusty had actually been in WWE before he joined them and did the polka dot thing. In all fairness, I think he was probably just brought in as like a bit of a one-off. I don't think he was in as like a permanent thing. I think he was just brought in as like an exception. But I find it really interesting. And I have not watched that match. I will watch that match tonight. I said I want to watch that Dusty Superstar Billy Graham match. And someone told me that it's on the network. So I really want to do that. I was going to watch it the other day, but I didn't get a chance. I must say, they've had some good matches tonight, and Wardlow is awesome, says Brent. Brent, hello, hope you're well. Jen said, do you think it would be cool if AEW and WWE have a Survivor Series? No. I don't think it would be cool, because if it's in WWE, then Vince is going to put all of his stars over. So you would be seeing WWE destroy AEW, which would upset a lot of people. Equally, if it's done in AEW, if it's held in AEW, they might be a bit more inclined to make it a bit more 50-50. But if it's like a Survivor Series, then I have to think it's WWE that's booking it, and they would have WWE, 6-0, 7-0 every match. They wouldn't put any AEW talent over, because it's not in their interest to, is it? It's not in their benefit to. Dusty was the NWA champion. He held that iconic WCW NWA title that became the WWE title and old school title. What? You mean you're talking about the big gold? Because this is from 77. And there's no NWA title from that time that becomes the WWE title. So I don't know if we're talking about big gold. What do you mean, Master Chief? What do you mean? I understand it was NWA title. I think, are you saying that you're saying he was the NWA champion, and he had a run with the big gold belt, and the big gold came in, but those are different time frames, aren't they? Dusty was NWA champion. James said, just like AEW not putting any Ring of Honor talent over on their pay-per-view. Not big gold, 10 pounds of gold. Okay. Well, 10 pounds of gold never became a WWE title. Big gold came into WWE and was used as a title, but £10 wasn't. He was the NWA World Champion. He had an old school title and big gold at different times. AEW is a bit more extreme than WWE, said Larry. I'll tweet you the photo. Okay. Here is Malachi. Talking about the House of Black. Did you co-write a book? No. I can't find that it was wrong, says Tony. That's all right. I think I've got my head around what we're talking about. And I think I think that the way I read it was off. But either way, I want to watch that match. Here is this? I keep thinking that's Jade Cargill, you know. I swear that Jericho Appreciation Society logo looks very much like the Jade Cargill one. Right, here is the Jericho Appreciation Society. So it's Eddie, it's Santana, and Ortiz versus Jericho, Hager, and Garcia. Book's got your name on a foreword. Oh, I might have done a foreword, but I didn't write a book. The bout Dusty didn't win with the count out wasn't NWA. It was the WWF United States Heavyweight Championship. Why are they still using Judas? It doesn't make sense. Time for some sports entertainment. James said Wardlow versus MJF at Double or Nothing for Wardlow's contract. I'm calling it now. Mason said, I don't understand why everyone thinks MJF will go to WWE. He would be awful there. They would limit him and turn him cringe. He needs to be left free on the mic, and he thrives off insulting the crowd. Big Time Back said, do you think Impact is a dead company? I don't know what you mean, to be honest. I mean, it's got a fan base, and that fan base is very passionate about how it, is putting out great shows, but is it a company that's growing? I would say no. I mean, it's been around for a long time, under the guise of TNA, and then it rebranded as Impact. I feel like it's just in its own little groove, to be honest, and I think that they've brought in some good names that got released from WWE. I'm thinking the Iconics. I have no idea who else. But I think they were doing a little summit with Ring of Honor before Ring of Honor was purchased. And obviously they did a little summit with AEW. So I'd say they're, holding their own. Bobbing along. Surviving. But I don't know. I don't think I would say they were dead. No. I would say that they're just, doing their thing, really. I don't think they're in decline either. As much as I'm saying I don't think they're a company that's on the grow and they're going to be pushing AEW in a few years. I think they're firmly, where they are, and I think they'll stay there. I can't even see them, bothering NXT. NXT get more views on a weekly basis, but equally, I don't think they're a company that's in the decline either. So, in 5 years' time, do I still expect them to be around doing what they're doing? Yeah, I do. Impact's best days were its TNA days with Angle, Sting, Booker T, Hogan, and such. I remember when these three feuded in Impact and the other three just feuded. A very strong storm is moving in. Stay safe. Jaden said, what would you do if MJF was TNT champion and CM Punk was AEW champion and they did a winner-take-all match? Who do you think would win? I don't know, because it really depends on the story at the time, doesn't it? I don't know that it's as easy as this person's facing this person, who wins. Because, there's so many factors, when are people's contracts up? Has MJF been champion before by that point? Blah, 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 blah. I would think that MJF will become champion at some point, and CM Punk would be perfectly fine person for him to win it from. So I would lean MJF in that. But if it's a case that his contract's, about to expire and it doesn't look like he's going to renew, well, then MJF's probably not going to win that. So there's lots of little things that, could be at play. But if we're saying in 12 months' time, then I'll say MJF, because they could give him a title run to convince him to re-sign, couldn't they? I wonder if it's in Tony's interest to not put the belt on MJF and then say, if you re-sign, you can be the world title, you can be the champion. That'll be part of the deal. If he's already won it, then that's not going to be maybe not going to carry as much weight as it, because he's already won it. He's already got that achievement. So I wonder if it's actually in Tony's best interest to not put the belt on him, and then that's part of the negotiation. If you re-sign, you can be, you will be the champion. We will give you a run with the belt. When is your Dong fighting again? I don't know, to be honest, but there's a lot of excitement around Yudong, all joking aside. There's a lot of his performance against Arce really I think, open people's eyes. And, I definitely think he's starting to make some moves now. So I think there'll be a big step up in opposition for him. And we could be seeing him really starting to make some moves. The thing is, he's still only 24. So, it's not like there's a mad rush, but I think there's going to be. I can see him taking on some big names in the. Here we go. In the bantamweight division, Yudong rises 5 spots at number 9. Marlon Moraes falls to number 13. So does that mean that Yudong is ranked number 9 in the rankings right now? Let's have a look. UFC rankings. Because if so, if he's number 9, there's just going to be straight up killers for. Yeah, he is. So this is the promotion This is the division that Aljamain Sterling is champion of. Petian is ranked number 1. TJ Dillashaw at 2. Josie Aldo at 3. Corey Sanhagen at 4. Rob Font at 5. Mirab Davashvili at 6. Dominic Cruz at 7. Marlon Vera at 8. And then joint 9th is Song Yudong and Pedro Munez. There is no number 10. There isn't a number 10. It's joint 9 and then 11. It's messy, isn't it? He's actually ahead of Sugar Sean O'Malley. Sugar Sean O'Malley at 13. Song Yudong at 9. That's what I'm saying, man. He's just in around killers now. He really is in around killers. Like, you can get some really exciting fights for him coming up. In the next few years, I can see him having a title fight as long as he picks up wins. So, yeah, I don't know when his next fight is, but he really is starting to move some places now. Hamzat Chimaev has jumped up to number 3. Is now number 3 after beating Gilbert Burns. Damn, I haven't seen the new rankings. The rankings always come out on a Tuesday. So this was all updated yesterday. And I haven't seen them following the big pay-per-view at the weekend. Jericho arguing with Aubrey. Let's have a look at that welterweight division. Yeah. Usman, Covington, Leon Edwards, Chimaev. Chimaev jumping up 8 spots. Gilbert Burns at 4. Chimaev at 3. That's a massive jump, that is. That is a massive jump. It's Usman, Leon Edwards coming up soon. Islam Makhachev at 3 in the lightweight division. Not really much movement in featherweight. Crossbody. Are you a fan of Derry Girls? Yeah, I love it. I haven't seen the new one. I need to watch it. But I love it. I think it's so funny. I think it's so well written. It's an excellent show, that is. Leon is a bit overrated, says Shola. Haven't you mentioned MJF would be better off in AEW than WWE? I think I recall you saying that in the past. MJF would he be better off in AEW? I mean, I think he would enjoy a little more freedom than he would in WWE, but I think that he would, the brand exposure he would get from going to WWE would be worth it for him to go there. He could go there and, have a few years and then always go back to AEW. So I actually think he should go because I think it'll make him a bigger star. I think, he's getting somewhere in AEW anyway, but to have the WWE machine behind you is something very unique. Like, as we said, he could go on to Raw that's watched by 1.8 million or SmackDown that's watched by 2.2. And that's you know, straight away a big difference from being seen on a show that gets about 1 million. And then you've got like one of the biggest YouTube channels at your disposal, one of the biggest Twitter accounts, biggest Instagram pages. I mean, we all saw those numbers about how they did the Super Bowl. So I think he should go, because I think that would be a big machine behind him, and long term, it's only going to benefit him. If you've been in WWE, then you are really a made person, you know? You're someone that, you know, I mean, you can still do an interview with the likes of Santina Moretti. I mean, you could do, Enzo could come out and people will know who he is because of his time in WWE. So MJF would get like a boost from that. Whether the run would go very well is a separate thing. Whether they would book him right and give him the freedom to talk, I don't know. He maybe wouldn't enjoy as much freedom as he does in AEW. But I think the option is always there to go back. Discovery merging is going to get rid of wrestling focus on NBA, NHL, NCAA. NXT's newest signing, Martin Jared Freeman, comes out male stripper and a fireman hat. Derry Girls is like In-Betweeners, but set in 80s Ireland. It's really fun. I don't know if it would play well to American audiences, to be honest, but it's really well written and very funny. And I saw the clip of where they were being interrogated, like in the latest episode, and it's really good. Eddie Kingston goes crashing. Another suicide dive. Jericho goes down. I heard a little birdie tell me MJF could go to WWE. Yeah. I mean, MJF has said it. It's not a little birdie. It's MJF himself has said that he could go to WWE when his contract comes up. WWE made more money than the Super Bowl. WWE changing their format. You can see it. Jericho Appreciation Society versus Kingston, Santana, Ortiz, and a couple of others in a blood and guts would be awesome, said James. One, two, three, and Kingston pinned by Garcia. Jericho jumps in, starts pounding away on Eddie Kingston. Barcelona versus Frankfurt tonight, says Adam. Lister Jericho said, I'm still not feeling this new Jericho group. The members are dull. Here's Hager. They're bringing Santana and Ortiz into the ring. Ortiz goes down. Judas effect, so Jazz standing tall. The House of Black, AEW started that gimmick, then did with Edge and Damian Priest, like WWE, trying for new fans. I don't know what you mean. If MJF went to WWE, he would lose his audience because we know he only did it for the money. That's a big no-no to hardcore fans. You're a wrestler because you love the biz, not the money. I'm the prodigy, I'm the phenom, I'm the pinnacle of professional wrestling, says MJF. No more just showing up. I'm going to put you to work, says MJF. He's going to put him up against the Butcher. Okay. JR said, if you think there's just one guy coming out, though, you'd be wrong. Right, here is Shayna. Marina Shafir. Okay, Marina Shafir. Marina Shafir versus Sky Blue. Not sure about this music at all. So she gets into the ring, and Sky Blue is already inside. Yeah, that music's awful. It's rubbish. We're backstage, and we've got Jade's... Don't know what that is. Looks like she's about to go track running. It's like a bodysuit. What was that name of that woman, that Australian woman? Kathy Friedman. Is it Kathy Friedman? She wore something like that. When she went track running and set like a new world record. No air resistance, you see. Standing guillotine by Sky Blue. Bear hug. Slams Sky Blue down. There's Jade Cargill watching. She looks very unimpressed. Marina Shafir grabbing Sky Blue. Straight to the back as Sky Blue goes down. Marina Shafir, of course, everyone knows Mrs. Roderick Strong. Sky Blue trying to get up in the corner. Who are them making noise? Who are them women? Strikes coming into the midsection by Sky Blue. She's trying to fight back. She's looking for a pump handle. Oh, nice suplex. Marina Shafir nodding along. She seems... Are they against her? I can't make out what them women are doing. I have no idea if they're with her, against her, whether they're cheering her on, cheering against her. It's just a pointless distraction. Crowd are dead for this, by the way. The crowd that have been making some noise throughout this show, the crowd have gone missing. Roll through. She's got the leg, and she's got a hold of the arm, and she... That's kind of nice. I like that. It's a nice submission hold. Marina Shafir sat on the edge of the ring. I don't really want a match with her and Jade. Jade's a heel, and she's a heel. So why do I care about a heel versus a heel? Oh, is that the women's division or something? I don't know any of them women at all. Oh, here's her. Is Marina a face or a heel? Judging by her music, she's a Hammer horror villain. The guy in the crowd looks a little too excited to be sitting next to the baddies. Here's Tony Nese. Here's Danhausen. Okay. Sterling is everywhere. I'm kind of sick of all these MMA or ex-MMA athletes coming into wrestling. They're not fun matches. They're botchy and they don't look smooth, says Mason. Keith Lee and Swerve against Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs. Should be coming up next. Why do you think AEW crowds go numb for most women's matches? They treat it like a bathroom break. Could it be why Tony does constantly sign female free agents? I think you've got two women there that are quite cold. I mean, compared to, that is Marina Shafir's TV debut, so I don't know how much excitement there would have been for that, how much they've built her up. Certainly her music was pretty dull, depressing, sucking the energy out of the room. Sky Blue I think is quite popular, but Sky Blue didn't really get much of an entrance. I think that match as well, it's just a little squash thing. There really wasn't much in there to get too excited about. And crowd just seemingly switched off from it, yeah. I think that AEW fans can get into women's wrestling. Thunder Rosa always gets good reaction, and Britt Baker is massively over. And, I think it would be wrong to suggest that AEW fans aren't interested in women's wrestling. Just think that women's division is not that strong, and I think that it could be booked better as well. It could get more time than it does. But no, to be honest, that was two relative unknowns. On a card that's had CM Punk, that's had Jungle Boy, that's just had MJF and Wardlow, just had Jericho as well. So, just naturally against all of that, it's going to feel like, several steps down, isn't it? So, you've got to give the crowd reasons to cheer. It was a bad match. Bad matches get flat crowds. The women's match was about as interesting as watching paint dry, said Zoom Station. She should have come out to the Vader March. I think her music is something she had a role in. I think it's similar to the national anthem, but it's definitely not great. David said the women's division has gotten stronger, but the booking still needs work. Where is Ruby? Here we go, about to go back. We're 20 minutes into hour number 2, and as I'm not sure how long the overrun's going to be, so I don't know how long's left. There could be an hour to go here, or it could be, I think there is a little overrun. Right, we've got TNT title, or TNT champion, I should say, Scorpio Sky, and he's standing next to Dan Lambert. Turns out the most obnoxious couple in AEW history are still right here. You will get the ass kicking that you need. Okay. Right, we go back to the arena, and next up it is Will Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs. Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. Taking on Keith Lee and Swerve. There needs to be a balance of women's matches on Dynamite for there to be a solid women's division. It's a vicious circle, isn't it? I mean, like, you need good women in that division to then have a reason to have more matches. But if you don't have more matches, if you don't have loads of women's matches, then you don't need women. So they don't have loads of women matches on Dynamite, so you don't need loads of women. But if you don't get loads of great women, there's not really a reason to expand the women's division. So it's like, we just keep going round in circles. Tony would have to just invest in a load of women. Here's Swerve. Ricky Starks gives me that rock vibe. Jade's entrance should start with her shouting, "It's time." Her manager repeats, "It's time." They both say, "It's Jade's time." AEW, one women's match in a couple of hours. NXT UK has 2 or 3 women's matches in an hour. Here's Keith Lee. Swerve and Lee making their way down. In the ring, we've got Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs, and we will be underway with this one soon. So what have we've got Suzuki, Samoa Joe still to come. We've had Penta, CM Punk. We've had Marina Shafir, Sky Blue. We've had Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus. We've had MJF. We've had the trios. And now we've got this. I think I'm right in saying this was the... Other than Suzuki and Samoa Joe, this was the only thing that was announced. So I don't know how much of an overrun there's going to be, to be honest, because I think there's only one more match after this, and we've got 35 minutes, so unless they're going to give this match loads of time. Where on earth is Ember Moon, Taya Valkyrie, Tegan Nox, Mia Yim? Are they just sitting twiddling their thumbs waiting for AEW to call? I don't know what they're doing, to be honest. I don't know. Taya Valkyrie, I don't know if she's ended up going somewhere else. I think she's still working. Mia Yim, I don't know. I'm so surprised she hasn't come into AEW. You would have thought that would have been like a bit of a... If you want Keith Lee, then you've got to have Mia Yim as well. The fans have woken up. How is AEW doing so far? I think it's been all right. It's been all right. Crowd have been pretty boisterous. There's been some good moments. There's been some quiet moments. I thought the MJF Wardlow stuff was pretty fun. This crowd is awesome, says Brent. Taya Valkyrie is going back to Impact to challenge Deonna Purrazzo for the AAA Championship. They've built the match up nice. Now they need to give it more than 5 minutes, said Zoom Station. I see Keith Lee and Swerve as future AEW World Tag Team Champions. He was given the okay to do the overrun. Starks on top and comes crashing down onto Swerve. I think everything's been cool, but the women's match was a bit lackluster. Taya is back in Impact. Mia Yim is streaming. Athena is probably going to be with Jade after she beats Shafir. I didn't know once I turned 21 I would be experiencing old people problems. That's what happens, mate. Honestly. And the longer you stay 21, the worse it gets as well. Drop kick by Swerve. Swerve has got Starks over in the corner. Still to come, the Ring of Honor World TV Championship. Suzuki against Samoa Joe. Keith Lee going for a chop of Starks. Up comes Swerve. Big chop of Starks from Keith Lee. Starks goes down. Elbow to the back of the head by Swerve. We need more outreach from the community. YouTube fan said the AEW World Champion, Hangman Adam Page. Not mentioned on the show. Yeah, no, that's all right. I don't need to see him every week. Out through the ropes goes Ricky Starks. I see Hammerstone at the PCW Ultra shows all the time. He is a great champion. Brent said Ricky is thriving tonight. He needs to put some size on and he could be an AEW World Champion. Swerve on the outside. I think Tony needs to give Fit Finlay a call to work with AEW's women's division, since he is widely regarded as the man who helped turn WWE's women's division into what it is today. We've got Swerve on the outside. I think AEW need to have 2 tag team championships like WWE. It would be more interesting, says Davids. Are you looking forward to Hangman versus Cole Texas Death Match on Rampage? Didn't even know it was happening, to be honest. So I can't say that I was looking forward to it. Rampage is on earlier this week, isn't it? I believe, isn't it the hour... Isn't it on that hour before SmackDown? I don't even think they've mentioned it during Dynamite, actually. We haven't got to that part of the show yet where Excalibur talks a million miles an hour and you can't make out what he's saying, as he advertises everything that's on Rampage and next week's Dynamite. Join us next week for Rampage, and on Rampage we're going to have blah 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 versus blah blah blah, and then we've also got blah blah versus blah blah. Then next week on Dynamite we got blah blah versus blah blah in a triple threat match, and that's also going to see blah blah versus blah blah. Jesus, what? Graphic. I was trying to watch that. Like, I remember a couple of weeks ago we did that, and I was trying to relay to you guys exactly what he was saying. I couldn't read it out as quick as he was reading it. And we were on to the next thing. It was... I mean, I can only imagine he records it, and then they, like, put the speed up to, like, double. And cause I just don't see how you could talk that fast. I mean, like, every single second of this show really matters, doesn't it? Like, I'm not even joking. Every second. Because as a result, he has to talk that fast all the time when he does the breakdown of, like, Rampage and next week's Dynamite. I'm going to AEW Dynamite in Pittsburgh next week. I might dress up like Stardust. Lol. Excalibur thinks he's Eminem. He's a rap god. You're absolutely right. He's a rap god. Swerve gets thrown into the corner and Ricky Starks goes down. You should be an American auctioneer. On Monday, we're getting a new US champion. Theory will beat Balor and then become the new US champ. You can count on it. Do you think WWE could release Xia Li, Shotzi, and Aaliyah? None of these women have been on TV since Feb, and WWE just keeps using raw female talent. Could they release them? Sure, they could. They don't need them necessarily, do they? I don't know that they will. I mean, it's always hard to know what WWE are thinking. But if you was going to point to people that are, in trouble, maybe Mustafa Ali as well could be on that mix because he wants to go. And if there's going to be cuts, then they might just look to cut him. Not grant his release, but just release him anyway. I don't really want to get into a list of people that, could get cut, but you can see for yourselves, really, if they're used on TV or not. My mind can't focus on the next match that fast. Rampage this week with Cole Hangman main eventing is live. It's not taped, says Daniel. Are you streaming Rampage? Well, we can have it on. I mean, I'm thinking it's on that hour before SmackDown, so don't feel like it's going to be a big problem to just have it on in the background. Whether the conversation's going to be focused on it, though, I mean, I genuinely don't know. I can't wait for Blah Blah versus Blah Blah. It's a dream match, said Blaze Radio. Did you know Edge requested or Ali for his group and that was rejected? No, I didn't. No, I didn't. I didn't hear that at all. That's interesting. God, what are they doing with him? They won't release him, but then they won't use him either. Horrible limbo he's in. Horrible. Rampage does start at 12 a.m. UK time. Starks with a spear. Starks going over. Basement dropkick to Keith Lee. Keith Lee goes on the outside. Who would be your number one contender for Roman's Undisputed Championship, Cody? Kick out by Swerve. When I'm with friends watching Keith Lee, I call him a big gorilla. No disrespect. I like Keith Lee. He just looks like a big silverback gorilla. Did he call it a flipping DDT? That was a destroyer, wasn't it? Why would Excalibur call that a flipping DDT? Maybe I missaw it. I don't know. I thought he just hit him with a destroyer. Keith Lee is in. Swerve's got Starks up on his shoulders. He drops him down as Keith Lee collides into him. Powerhouse Hobbs is in. Do you think Kenny Omega retains on Friday at Rampage? He'll come back after. Oh, do I think he returns? Well, I heard he wasn't back for a long time. Yeah, there was rumours that it was going to be a long time. So I don't know that he'll be back on Friday. I'm going to lean towards no, to be honest. James said, I would like to see Gunther beat Roman. It's been 3 months since Ali asked for his release, and WWE are just wasting their time. Big strike by Keith Lee, and Powerhouse Hobbs goes down. Taz has made his way down. Taz is down at ringside. Keith Lee's got Starks up. Powerhouse Hobbs pushes Swerve off the edge of the ring. Keith Lee goes down. Hobbs with Swerve. Hobbs goes into the corner. Hobbs goes down. Over in the corner looking for... I thought he was going for a DDT, but he didn't get it there, Starks. Goes for a strike, but kicks coming out by Starks. Starks going up. and launches himself with a spear. Swerve's going up top. Comes crashing down. Excalibur. Excalibur has a lot going on when it's live. I don't know if he made it. I mean, maybe it was a mistake. I don't know. I mean, it'd be a weird one for him to call. He knows every move under the sun. If there's one thing he's going to get wrong, I really wouldn't expect it to be the name of a move, and certainly not a Canadian destroyer. That's what I'm saying. I don't get it. I don't understand. I actually think I feel like I probably saw it wrong more than he got it wrong. Spinebuster. And Powerhouse Hobbs gets the dub. If you was in Ali's shoes and were unhappy but were forced to sit at home for months, what could you do? Talk to lawyers and sue? Not really. I mean, your contract says that... I mean, I'd imagine that contract says they can use you really however they want. Within reason, of course. But, you know, if they haven't got anything for you, then they haven't got anything for you. I mean, there's nothing he can do. Contractually, he is an employee and he is under contract for however long that contract is. I mean, he signed that deal. He didn't have to sign it. You know, the deal is we're going to pay you X amount and you do what we need you to do, basically. So, no, I mean, his hands are tight. If it was Excalibur and Tony on commentary, it would be stellar. If you could book a dream match of AEW versus WWE, who would you want to see? I don't know, to be honest, because, I mean, like, my favourite male wrestler is Danielson, but I've seen a lot of them matches, so I can't say I'm really that bothered about seeing, like, Danielson versus, you know, who cares? And my favourite female is Serena Deeb, so Serena Deeb might be pretty fun. Serena Deeb going up against... I don't know who, though. Serena Deeb against Charlotte could be fun. Serena Deeb against Bianca could be fun. But they don't feel like great matches. They aren't matches that I'm desperate to see. Again, like FTR, like I really like FTR. But I mean, they used to be in WWE. Plus also, who would you have them go up against? I don't know. It's a good question. I really don't know. You could go with like Kenny Omega, but to be honest, I'm just not that bothered. I'm really not that bothered. Kenny Omega against Seth Rollins. Maybe it's because, like, he's been away for a while, and I've not seen loads of great Kenny matches in AEW. When he was in New Japan, he was just killing it. I mean, you know, when he was having matches against Okada, of course, in particular, he was doing great, and, like, some of his G1 matches... It just seemed to be churning out classics all the time, but in AEW it just hasn't been that way. And there was a bit of criticism about, like, you know, where he was, and like, you know, was he maybe not the same? Could he not do it in North America like he could in Japan? And then he had a pretty, you know, he had an all right title run. But yeah, I'd say, like, I don't know. I feel like his star isn't shining as bright as it once was. I don't feel like as crazy about Kenny as I did when he was in New Japan. So Kenny, I feel, would be like the easy answer. MJF, I don't really rate as in ring. I think he's a great talker, but I wouldn't like dream match with MJF. Not really bothered. Darby's pretty fun. You could maybe do something with Darby. I think that's always why, like, whenever there's like, oh, do you fancy seeing WWE against AEW Survivor Series, or do you fancy them doing a big pay-per-view? My immediate answer is like, no. Because, I mean, again, if WWE were booking it, they'd always put themselves over. But more to that, I can't really think of any matches I'd be that bothered by anyway. I really can't think of any matches that would really get me going. Do you know what I mean? Matches that I'd be like desperate to see, because a lot of that talent is from WWE. So we've already seen Danielson take on a load of people over there. We've seen Moxley against a load of people over there. We've seen FTR against a load of people. Plus, WWE's tag division is awful. So, I mean, you could maybe do the Usos against FTR, but I feel like... Did we see that match anyway? I can't remember. Maybe that'd be pretty fun, but... Yeah, I'm not desperate for it. I am still upset about Rosa being the AEW Women's Champion. They've put the belt on her. She's not very good in her match with Britt. And she's not done a single promo with that belt yet, said Jilly. He collected 12 titles. His run was great, as it was from different promotions. That didn't make it a great run, though, did it? Just because he went and like had the Impact belt and he had the AAA belt or whatever, it didn't mean that. And he was calling himself the belt collector. I mean, I judge it on match quality, and like, you know, what incredible matches were we getting during his run? I don't think it's unfair to say that what he did as champion is below what he was doing when he was in New Japan. I think when he was in New Japan, you know, he really was unquestionably the greatest wrestler in the world. I don't think he's the best wrestler in the world since he's been in AEW. So I feel like he's got it in him. I'm not a Kenny hater. I'm not like Jim Cornette. I'm not a Kenny hater, but I do think that something's missing. Something doesn't feel right. And maybe the injuries have been a bit much. I mean, maybe it's that. Obviously, he's been away getting surgery and getting some problems dealt with, niggling problems. Someone said to me that he's been... Is it vertigo? He's been, like, having dizzy spells. I mean, if he's been struggling with things like that during matches, that could absolutely explain it. Like, him going away... if he comes back after this surgery saying he feels better than ever, he feels like his old self, they might even use it as a way of building it into the storyline. Like, I'm back, I'm better than ever, I feel like I did in the past. You know, they could very much use it as a storyline, because it doesn't feel like New Japan to me, Kenny Omega. I did like him put with Don Callis, though. I thought that was good. And he certainly delivered some good matches whilst he was champion as well. But he's got, for me, I believe he's got better in him. Man United Hodge said, we need Miz versus MJF. Here's Samoa Joe. So, main event time. I haven't heard his music, actually. Joe chants. Lethal is clearly going to get involved here. This should be a banger, said Zoom Station. Right, here's Suzuki. Maybe they're going to give this match some time then. I mean, it's only got 15 minutes. So, Suzuki about to make his way out. The legendary Murder Grandpa. Daniel said, I think we will finally see a 100% Kenny Omega when he's back. He has been riddled with injuries. And he said that vertigo has been since 2018. And he's had to get accustomed to wrestling in a spinning ring. I mean, listen, that completely would explain it. It would completely explain it. Okay, Suzuki here, Samoa Joe in the corner. don't know if I've missed it. I still don't think they've done, like, previews, unless that's going to come after the match. Of, like, you know, Rampage and Dynamite. Suzuki section, that sign says. Luke said, no hate, but I feel at times you have a different rating system for AEW compared to WWE. I have no idea where that's come from, because we haven't said anything. I mean, all we've said is that Kenny Omega didn't seem to be as good as when he was in New Japan. So, if that's upset some people. Right, we've got Suzuki face-to-face with Samoa Joe. Suzuki with a big smile on his face and a big chop. Chop coming back by Samoa Joe. These two exchanging blows back and forth. Big chop by Joe, and Suzuki wants some more. These two just exchanging shots back and forth as Suzuki throws in some big right hands. Big chop again there by Samoa Joe. Suzuki with, again, big chop of his own. They're just exchanging blows back and forth at the moment. Suzuki sticking out his tongue, and he throws in a chop to Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe chops back. Both their chests are bright red right now. Another big chop coming in. Constantly trying to throw it in, lay it in here, and Suzuki taking all that. His chest is bright red. And Suzuki trying to get the crowd fired up. Samoa Joe enjoying the punishment as well. He's just laying it in, and I mean, their chest must be absolutely on fire. Staring at each other. Another chop by Suzuki, and another one. This is awesome. Is the chap from the champ from the crowds. Another big chop coming in by Samoa Joe. Goes over to the corner. How long before California Joe gets injured? This is chopping. Another forearm strike coming in. JR said he hasn't seen this a match this physically intense for quite some time. Smile on the face of Suzuki. Forearm strike, and Samoa Joe enjoyed that, and he throws a forearm strike back. Joe charges over, shoulder tackle, and Suzuki goes down. GBO said, you're always biased. I'm not surprised about your comment on Kenny Omega. I'm sure Roman's in-ring performance is not better than Kenny's for the last year. You forgot the 5-star match he had with Bryan. I don't think one 5-star match, though, is equal to what he was doing over in New Japan. So, I think you are looking at it wrong. You know, the fact is that he is capable of more, and I expect him to deliver more when he comes back from his time away. The point we were making was that he has not been operating at 100%. And I think when he comes back, I've actually got high hopes that we could be seeing the kind of Kenny Omega that we saw over in New Japan. So it feels like a really weird conversation that's being had at the moment, whereby I'm saying I think we could see like the best Kenny in AEW since he returns. And that seems to have upset people, where they're like, oh, you're always doing this. You're always laying into him. You're always laying into AEW. It's like, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying that when he comes back, it could be the best version of what we've seen. And, right now, that would be enough for me to not choose Kenny if I was to pick like an AEW, WWE kind of like dream match thing. Because from what I've seen in Kenny in AEW, it's not really that bothered by like Seth Rollins, Kenny Omega. I think it'd be pretty fun, but it's not a match I'm desperate for. Like, if I don't get it, I'm not going to cry myself to sleep. I mean, is there a better option if I was to think of something else? Like, would I rather see something else than Kenny Omega against Seth Rollins? Would I go with maybe a Darby Allin instead, who really has, laid it in? He's done a very good job of, every match he gets, he's always chucking himself around. Like, maybe I'd go Darby Allin, but then I don't know who I'd put him in there against. Don't know, tricky. Where this notion has come from of he's better than Roman or this kind of stuff. Sit down. Stop embarrassing yourself. You're exactly the kind of person that gives AEW fans a bad name. You're the kind of person that gives wrestling fans a bad name, so you can absolutely do one. Lance said, Suzuki is a maniac. Thanks for a great stream. You're welcome. I completely forgot about Kenny, says List of Jericho. I don't know when he's coming back, to be honest. I mean, I heard a rumor it was like end of the year. I don't know when he's meant to be, or if that's changed, or if it's to throw people off the scent so they don't expect him for like this weekend. But I heard that his surgeries and everything was going to be a real long recovery. He's already been out for a long time. But, I can't say I'm expecting him on Friday. If he is, I'll be surprised. Powerbomb by Samoa Joe. And he's keeping Suzuki grounded here. Couple of headbutts. So Suzuki on the ground, and that's a big guy to have on your back. Pull him back on the head. Crowd are into it. They're a bit quiet at the moment, but that's because this is obviously still building. Trying to pull back on the arm. Samoa Joe with his elbow into the side of the body. And here's a little advert for Rampage. Texas Deathmatch, Hangman Page and Adam Cole. Battle of the Belts, Thunder Rosa against Nyla Rose. Got Samoa Joe coming over and hurling Suzuki into the corner. Reversal as Samoa Joe goes in. Big boot by Suzuki. Snapping over, Suzuki going against the ropes. Big kick by Suzuki as Samoa Joe goes down. And shoulder up by Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe getting back up to his feet as he goes to throw a big right hand. It's blocked by Suzuki. Forearm strike by Suzuki. He's going for a pole driver here, Suzuki. Pushes Samoa Joe back. And he says to Samoa Joe he wants him to chop him one more time, and now they go back to chopping each other. David said you missed the announcements from Excalibur. He's even read them slower today. He must have heard you. Oh, well, there we go then. Very good. Big chop by Samoa Joe on Suzuki as Suzuki is getting backed up a little bit. Duck underneath by Suzuki. Goes round the back. Almost about 3 minutes away from the end of normal time. And then we'll be going into this overrun. Dave Meltzer said that it could go like an extra half an hour into an overrun. Suzuki down. I hope Suzuki is trolling us. Suzuki is getting up over at the side of the ring. Big chop by Samoa Joe. Drop kick by Suzuki. As Samoa Joe goes down. This is our main event. And puts a headlock on Samoa Joe. He is going for pile driver. This is, I think this is my first time seeing Samoa Joe in AEW. Knee strike to the midsection. Suzuki driven back into the corner. Top rope enziguri there by Samoa Joe. Suzuki trying to grab a hold of the arm of Samoa Joe. Again, forearm strike coming in by Joe. It's all very tight. He's looking for Muscle Buster. He's got Suzuki up and he hits it. 1, 2, 3. And Joe wins. So no overrun. No overrun. Someone's coming out. Oh, there's Jay Lethal. It's a middle finger, so sticks. He comes out with a box, sticks a finger up. We've got lights out. JR said, "What else is going to happen here tonight?" Who's that? Who? Who? Sango Singh? Samoa Joe gets thrown into... they've gone and got their own Amos. Okay. Another Amos. It's Via's younger brother. Joe trying to fight back. So now they're going to put Joe in there against the monster. Satnam Singh. Tall man, says Sonny. Some NBA mutt we've never heard of. AEW combining Via and Amos, and they've created Singh. Lethal. Lethal hits lethal injection. Is he new? I ain't got a clue who he is. I've never seen him before. They signed Singh months ago, for those that follow AEW. Okay, well, there we go. They've jumped the shark, says Frank. Just checked. Read that they signed the guy last year. I've never heard of him. No, I don't know that he's been used on TV before. Right. That was overplayed by AEW. Not sure why they thought that debut at the end of Dynamite was worth it. Corvid said, Satnam Singh is 7'2" and he's 26. He's been training daily for 2 years. He was signed early by AEW. That show was all over the place. Right, here we go. What do you score AEW Dynamite? 8 to 10. 7 to 7 5. 6 to 6 7 5. 5 7 5 or below. Boom. He was an NBA player. Master Chief said 675. Larry said the ending was dumb. David said that was terrible. Corvid said he was stuck in Europe for a long time. Oh. 9 out of 10 says Minty. Who the hell was that guy? Trini the bot says 725. Tim said there's a video of him from 5 years ago. Smithster said 5.5. It's the worst Dynamite of the year. Brian says 7. Nelson said 5. Jonathan says 2. Joel says 8.5. To be fair, that was almost no overage at all. It was just a couple of minutes. Zoom Station says 6. Amin, see you are SmackDown. Don said it was a boring show. Main event was a letdown. 5. Jilly said I'm giving it a 5.75. It was under average. David said 2.5. Solid 10 out of 10. Root Beer said, will you get the first AEW game when it comes out? I don't really have time for games. I didn't get 2K22, so I'm sure there are gaming channels that can dedicate their time to that instead. 7. I mean, I thought this was all right. I thought it was all right. I didn't think it was any great shakes. I thought that it was. Thought it was all right. I'll give it 6.5. I think I've seen way better Dynamites. I think the main event was pretty hard hitting, but I don't know. I felt like there was a bit of a lack of drama, really, throughout the night. It was just, there was some nice moments. There was some all right matches. There were some things that I think missed the mark. But for me, yeah, it was just all right. It's all right. I think I largely agree with the chat. Austin says 6.75. John said 7.13. Heather says 7.5. It was fun. Tahil says 7. Shoggoff said Meltzer is the one that overhyped the overtime. Lance says pretty good out of 10. Scam Lightly said 5.7 for the debut of a second-rate Veer. J14 says 7. Master Chief said, I feel like most big matches happened in the first hour. It's frustrating, but a solid show. James said 6.5. The ending sucked. They should have let Samoa Joe have his moment. Shoggoff said 8.5. Could be better, but that ending left a bad taste. Lance said entirely watchable. Charlie said 6.75. Dylan says 6.5. Ledge Killer says 7. James said it was a decent 7. AEW going through a lot. You can see the difference. What do you mean by that? AEW going through a lot. David said, I was a bit higher than you, but I agree with the overall take, says David. WrestleMania Night 1 has ruined TV wrestling. I enjoyed it so much. None of the shows from Raw, SmackDown, or Dynamite have lived up to it, in my opinion. It was better NXT last night. Women's match was a -5. The ending was -3, said Spitster. I agree the first hour was so much better than the second. Discovery is going to be in charge of TBS. I think they're going to get rid of... I don't think they'll get rid of it. I don't think they'll get rid of AEW just because I think they get good demos, good ratings. I don't know why they would want to get rid of AEW. I mean, it doesn't... In comparison, it's quite cheap programming compared to... You know, I don't know what you would have to pay to get ratings that are as good. If you was to, what do you replace it with? Unless you're just not bothered about a decrease in that demo, and the difference in the ad money. I mean, who knows? Who knows what the difference in the ad money would be like? If rather than getting, second highest or even highest sometimes in that demo on a Wednesday night, that means advertisers give you this. Well, what happens if you're just outside the top 10 instead? What's the difference in how much you get then? Like, I don't know. I really don't know what Discovery are going to be thinking. No one does. But... I think that this is, for what you get, quite affordable programming for some very strong numbers on a Wednesday. So I don't know that I'd worry that they'd be getting rid of AEW. I think the bigger concern is they might not get the amount of money they were hoping for originally, but that's for them to worry about. And I'm sure Tony will be having many conversations and, putting positive spin on it. And who knows, they might even really like those numbers and might still give them a big contract. Master Chief said, AEW is Wednesday's #1 show. It's not moving. Eric Bischoff blew that out of context and people have run with it. James said, the only bad thing was the women's match and the ending, but everything else was great. AEW... I read that one. I type too fast sometimes. AEW on Vice TV. They can't get rid of it. They're under contract. They're under contract, I think, till the end of 2023. So they're fine for the next 16 months or so. But this is about what happens then. What happens then? What happens when that new contract comes up? Because they are getting closer towards having to negotiate a new deal. AEW on National Geographic. Was it worse than last week's Raw? Oh, I liked last week's Raw. Last week's Raw I thought was pretty good. It wasn't maybe as crazy as what people were hoping for when it came to, all these call-ups and Bayley coming back and, there were some people saying, like, maybe we get The Rock, and, there was conversation saying, well, do you remember they didn't bring Brock at WrestleMania? They brought him back on the Raw after, and few people citing. Do you remember the other year we didn't have Undertaker at WrestleMania, but he was on the Raw after? So what if we didn't have The Rock at WrestleMania and they bring him out on the Raw after? I mean, there was certainly nothing on that scale, but I think last week's Raw was still fairly solid with an NXT title change. And Veer finally arriving and beating up Dominic. And we had MVP turning on Amos. I thought there was a fair bit on that show. But it was just, there was no Rock. There was no big moment like what people were hoping for. It was definitely below Raw after WrestleMania expectations. Let's put it that way. Jilly said, AEW is not going to go anywhere. For God's sake, Impact never died, and AEW is 1,000 times better. Trini said, I don't believe AEW is going to go anywhere. With Tony Khan having Ring of Honor, he will have access to more content, and I expect to see a streaming deal soon. they'll be back in the black by a lot. James said a lot more people would watch and enjoy AEW, but some AEW fans make it hard to fully invest in AEW. William said, I am afraid of Discovery pressing AEW to appeal more to kids. Do you know what? That's really interesting, actually. That's something we never spoke about. I did see someone saying that could it be that one of the repercussions is that Discovery actually make and force AEW to become a PG product? And if it did become a PG product, how much would that upset like the fan base? I did see that as well. I mean, we just don't know what impacts Discovery coming in is going to have. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. Maybe Tony bought Ring of Honor because he saw a change in ownership management coming and wanted to make AEW look better to the new owners. James said AEW contract up next year. Discovery Chief has taken over. He is all about pro sports. Two things will survive a nuclear fallout: cockroaches and Impact Wrestling. Brennan gives it a 9.7. Right, might as well wrap up this. Let's wrap up this poll. Boom. And see what the average came out at. So 7 to 7.5, 34%. 8 to 10, 32%. 6 to 6.75, 23%. And 9% 5.75 or below. And that was out of 191. David said, if Discovery took away the beauty of a match like Moxley-Yuta by taking away the blood and him writing BCC on the chest, that would be awful. Carl said, last week's Raw had 23 minutes of wrestling out of 3 hours. That is ridiculous. Shoggoth said, worst case scenario, AEW goes to HBO Max. James Chadwick said, if Dixie Carter and Hogan couldn't kill Impact, then nothing will. Master Chief said, Discovery is a channel of ghost hunting and treasure hunts. AEW is right up their alley. NXT last night was better than Dynamite, said Woolden. Jilly said, it could happen. Discovery Channel is owned by Disney, and Disney is in hot water right now with pedo stuff. They need to keep things squeaky clean. Charlie said those chops, Suzuki and Joe, were purple afterwards. HBO should have AEW Dark and make it a 2-hour show, says Larry. It's going to be interesting. Dave Meltzer says, and I do agree that the big story next year is going to be AEW renewing their contract. We don't know how Discovery are going to feel about it. We don't know if they're going to love it, if they're going to want changes, if they're going to be happy for it to be blood and violence, or if it's got to become PG. If there does have to be changes, how will that affect some of the wrestlers? Will they adapt? I mean, a lot of them will have to. But, someone like Moxley. I suppose the great thing with AEW is that you can still have your job there doing the PG thing if it's got to be PG. Just because it's PG doesn't mean it has to be like WWE. You can still have a very engaging PG product that pitches itself at an older demo. Just because WWE is PG and a lot of the time feels like it's pitching itself at a younger demo, like that doesn't mean that that's what PG has to be. So I wouldn't be too scared of the PG thing, but I think someone like Moxley, I think he enjoys going further. And I think it would be a problem if that's all he was doing. But the great thing about the AEW contracts is, of course, he can go to Josh Barnett's Bloodsport and, do you know what I mean? Or he could go to GC Dub and, kind of express himself if you want. So the great thing about the AEW contracts is that they're not limited to just only working that PG style. So I think they'll be all right. They'll be all right. Even if they're forced to work PG because of the way the contracts work. I don't think they'll have loads of people leaving them or anything. It's still, fantastic exposure, isn't it?
it's still the second biggest like pro wrestling company. So really, where would you leave? Where would you go? I don't even know if Impact's PG or not. Like, I don't know. I don't know how much of a career you could forge for yourself outside of. I think you can. I mean, Matt Cardona seems to be doing well for himself. Seeing a lot of buzz around him. He seems to be like, you know, living it up on the indie scene, and yeah, maybe not the problem that it's you would think that it would be. I live in America. They sold WCW when they were still getting 3.5 million views. Yeah, they just absolutely didn't want wrestling on the network. And, you know, look, Discovery could be that way. We really don't know. But they absolutely did not want any wrestling on their network. If Discovery are that way, then it's going to be a big problem, isn't it? It's going to be a big problem. PG would mean no more bloods. It would mean no more bloods, yes. It won't be PG. There's lots of shows on TBS and TNT that are still and will stay TV-14, says Kyle. Disney don't own Discovery. Pull away from Disney. Don't blame them. Impact is a mixture of PG and TV-14, but they don't tend to overdo TV-14. Philip said, what was your favourite part of tonight's show? Maybe the Wardlow thing. I think one of the things tonight was there was lots of, you know, perfectly fine action, but I don't know that there was loads that was really grabbing me. But I think the Wardlow story is something that I've really connected with. I really like Wardlow. And I mean, like the crowd going crazy for him when he came out. I think the fact that he cost MJF another loss, and MJF grabbing the mic and, you know, the desperation in his voice saying, like, you know, I'll triple your pay to the referee. And, you know, that I just thought it was really good. I thought, like, the whole storytelling of that was really, really good. So I feel like that was probably my favourite part of the show. I'm not a Penta fan. I don't really like Penta. So the first match didn't really grab me, that Penta against like CM Punk. So it was a bit of a slow start for me. But it was solid. I mean, I do think this was a solid show. I didn't find myself bored. I didn't really find myself like rolling my eyes. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes in wrestling there can be things happen that you just really don't like. It wasn't any of that tonight. Wasn't any of that at all. So no, I thought it was solid. Thought it was fine. But I have seen way better Dynamites than this. This felt a bit of a show that, you know, it's fine. It's fine for a Wednesday night. Ticks a box. But don't know. It felt like, I mean, there was no Blackpool Combat Club. We did get a little backstage thing, but, you know, Danielson's my favourite male wrestler. He wasn't on the show. Serena Deeb's my favourite female wrestler. She wasn't on the show. Obviously, Kenny's out injured. There was no Young Bucks. There was no... Just felt like there was a few names that were missing, but it wasn't a problem. It still felt like... I didn't feel like I was cheated. I don't feel like I've seen the B group or anything. They've just got so many stars. They can rotate them around, so it wasn't a problem. I mean, I'm not the biggest Bucks fan, so I can't say I missed them. I would have liked to have seen Danielson. I really like Danielson. I would have liked to have seen Deeb. I really like Deeb. I would have liked to have seen Britt Baker. I really like Britt Baker. But this didn't feel like a worse show because they weren't on it. It just shows the strength in depth, doesn't it, of their roster at the moment. The fact that all of those stars, Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, Blackpool Combat Club, Moxley, Danielson, Britt Baker, Darby Allin, Sting. I mean, Jesus, you can go down a list of all the people that weren't on this show. And it didn't feel like it missed them. It didn't feel like it missed them because, like, as we said, the roster's so deep. Danielson did a backstage segment. Yeah, as I said, Blackpool Combat Club did that backstage thing, but I don't know if it was like a little pre-taped thing. But, I mean, it's not a match, is it? I don't watch Danielson for him to say 5 words backstage. I'm not like I watch him because of what he does in the ring. So it's a bit of a shame that we didn't get like a match from him, but equally I like the fact we didn't, because I don't want to overexpose it. You don't want that every week. Just like you don't want a CM Punk match every week. Like, when you see Danielson wrestle, it should be really important. And when you see Punk wrestle, it should feel really important. And I like the fact they've got that roster depth now so that they can rotate it around. And I think that's really good. I think that's a really, really positive thing that AEW have got that they didn't have before. You know, before you would see the same faces week after week after week, because the depth was your Joey Janela's, your Sonny Kisses, your Peter Avalon's. You know, that's what was in reserve. But now, I mean, we've just had a show here where, as we said, loads of people were missing, but it wasn't a problem. Hangman and Adam Cole also weren't in matches. That's the world champion. You didn't mention him, says David. That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, no, the champ weren't here. Sammy wasn't here. Jesus, there was no Sammy Guevara either. Jesus, there was loads missing, wasn't there? When you think about it. Damn. Fair play. Right, we're done anyway. We've stuck around for 20 odd minutes after, so shout out to everyone that's joined us. Obviously, nothing on the channel tomorrow. I'm getting ready for UFC, which it's all right this weekend, but it's no pay-per-view. But it's a bit of a quiet one this weekend. But coming up, we've got some big boxing events coming up, and we've got some big UFC stuff coming up as well. So, Tyson Fury is probably the next monster stream that we've got. So my plan is to get a bit of research done for those. But we're back on Friday. We will have Rampage on. We will definitely be keeping an eye on that. That is early as well. Don't forget, it starts the hour before SmackDown, not the hour after. So, but we're always live at that time anyway. So we will be watching that. That will be on, and then we'll go straight into SmackDown, which is I wish it was that way every week, to be honest. Such a better way of doing it, rather than sticking around after. I think it's better for Rampage to go early, although I don't think the ratings have reflected that in the past. So it'll be interesting to see what the ratings are like this week. But you'd have to think it's better for them to be on the hour before SmackDown rather than the hour after SmackDown. And it's better for us as well, because it means obviously you don't have to stick around as long. So, I wish this was a permanent change. But either way, it's a welcome change, and that is Friday. Looking forward to that. So have a good 24 hours or whatever, 48 hours till I see you next. And hopefully I will see you during that stream, which, as we said, is Friday. Awesome. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.